what's up, you guys? It is Keldamuzik, and we are here on Diva Talk Tonite, the podcast show. Hey, yo!
Hey!
Okay, so as always, I have my lovely co-hosts, Diamond and Brandy. Everybody give it up for them.
Yeah. That was cute.
And today we have two special guests that are going to give us a background on themselves, and then, you know, we talk about politics and all that other stuff. We have Shaunice here. Everyone give it up for Shaunice. And then we have Cash from Cash Entertainment. Give it up for Cash. Yes, yes. So, like I said, a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about, you know what I mean? But I want to talk about you guys first. So, Shaunice, I'd like to start with you. I remember you came on my show when I had the talk show, and you were one of the Diva Dive girls. And you were stunning.
Thank you.
You were standing out. You were beautiful.
Thank you.
So I knew you as a model. Are you still modeling? What are you doing?
Yes, I am still modeling, and my model name is Shaunice Model Life. I'm also an actress, and I go by Rio in my acting world. So, but my name is Shaunice, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
Yes, yes, yes. I remember you were starting a podcast too at one point, right? Or
Yes.
okay, what's going on with that?
The podcast that I'm on as a guest, it's a YouTube series called She Speaks Oakland, and that should be, it's actually out right now on YouTube. And I'm also doing my own thing as modeling. I am a model coach. And I've modeled with Mario B in Sacramento, and I'm pretty local in San Jose.
Okay.
And here, of course, in Oakland. I've been on bus stops, magazines,
Wow.
calendars for Black Cowboy Association. I think it was 2018.
Okay, years ago.
So I'm still modeling, and I'm looking for work. My Instagram is Rio and Runways, and my Facebook is Shaunice Model Life. One word.
Love it, love it. Can you tell us, what does it take to be a model?
It takes a lot of thick skin. It's very competitive because there's a lot of women that want to be models. Now is a good time to become a model because you can create your own modeling on TikTok and Reels and various platforms. So now is a good time to start your own if you want to model. But it is very competitive. And people, if you're going to sign with an agency, they look for specifics like height and weight and skin tone. So it's competitive.
Damn, skin tone. Huh? Damn. Woo.
Well, yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
But I mean, it's real life. So, but now it's 2020. It's a different world out there. So you can basically, it's a free world. You can freestyle, so to speak. So I've been freestyling. I've been doing a lot of things since. I've been quarantined. I call myself the quarantine queen, even though I'm not always at home. So, but I like to bake and I like to make drinks and I like to socialize. But I do it in a very small setting now. So.
What about like Insta models? Like all the girls who are modeling on Instagram, are they considered models, or what is that?
It's different because, like right now, I put a lot of my pictures on Instagram because I want to promote myself. I just recently linked up with a lady in LA. She's opening boutique, and I'm her brand ambassador. So I'll be the only model for her clothes, and she's gonna have me on her website and pictures, posters in her store. So I'm really excited about that. It's called Topaz of LA. So, but it's another open door for me.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I just go with the flow,
That's cool. Well, you're flowing.
Thank you.
Glowing. Look.
Thank you. I just go with the flow.
Okay. Well, all right. I want to get into my boy Cash here. Cash is awesome. He always books me to host his events, and he gets me drunk at his events. It's just so much fun. Thank you. How are you, Cash?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Pretty good. So glad to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So tell us about Cash Entertainment.
Okay. Cash Entertainment is like my party company. So we do nightlife events up to corporate events.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I do talk a little.
Sorry.
Okay, so Cash Entertainment is my nightlife company. We do corporate events. We do birthday parties, graduations, bachelorettes. We book the best clubs in the Bay Area, so you have the nicest venue to party at, and just have to come out and have a good time. We've been doing it for about 5 years now. We've done some pretty nice events. A little bit everywhere in the venue, honestly.
What about fashion shows? Are you still doing more fashion shows?
Oh, that's definitely coming up because we got GW Apparel.
Model.
I'm a runway model.
Definitely could use your help on putting it together. I think my first one was a little fun, but
No,
I feel
yours
like
was fun. It was fun.
That fashion show was fun as hell. I don't know what you're talking about.
okay.
And Mr. Fab showed up.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
That was a good fashion
Got a
show.
lot of good feedback on that one, actually.
Yeah.
Sharing some of the video of everything going on. People had a good time.
All right, well, we're definitely going to be around that back. As soon as these clubs open back up, man, I definitely took a hit on that.
So what are you working on in the meantime? I know you were promoting another brand.
Oh, yes. So I started.
And you were also, he was also a guest on Diva Talk Tonite as well.
Oh.
And that's when you were promoting your other brand.
Yeah, so the plug, back then when I was on Diva Talk, the plug was in its first stages. We were still like using Wix as like a off platform to build our site on, but now we're going to relaunch, and it has a brand new custom site that was customly built by this black web developer named Asha. So we shout out to Asha, she's been working hard on that for us. And that's the brand that I'm actually wearing today.
The
So,
plug.
the plug.
Can you make sure to show that to the camera?
Absolutely.
So, and it's all about just practicing group economics. It's like the Black Amazon. I feel group economics will leverage us out of our position at any time. As far as the police brutality, as far as just the economic struggles that we face, and the issues that are plaguing our community today. So, if we just had more money, more wealth to access, we wouldn't be facing, like, people wouldn't want to rob, like, our people wouldn't be so hungry to rob other people, or especially people of us, because we'd all be getting money. So,
Right.
and it's really interesting because there's so much that we spend in America as a culture, but yet none of it circulates back. So, and that's where we fuck up at. It's like that language. That's up that line. Yeah.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, it is.
The plug is gonna fix all that. It's more than a store; it's a solution. Because
So is it a membership also? Like, do you have to become a member?
no.
Okay.
So all you gotta do is just shop on there because it's using all black vendors, all black people. So it's gonna have everything you need in your daily life, just like an Amazon would. But when you shop there, you're circulating our dollars more in our
Right.
community.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
That's why the Asian people have little Koreas in every town, or the Mexicans have little Mexico, because they practice with economics all the time. They only shop with each other. The dollar stays in their community for months. Ours only stays there for minutes and hours.
Right.
Given our power away, we gotta stop doing that.
So I'm assuming you have several vendors listed with you, right?
Yeah, we got everything from tech, Frigger Wireless. They're a really good tech company. They have phones, very smartphones, 5G and stuff like that. They have laptops, tablets, TVs, all from a black-owned tech company. We have soaps, clothes. We're working on just a little bit of everything. There's going to be a peer-to-peer selling section where you could hop on, say, for instance, and sell, like, if you did art, you could sell your art for her. Or if she wanted to sell her calendar, then she could sell her calendar. So that would be really good for, I think, just our community. Because, like I said, it's just black people working with black people, circulating our dollar, and just helping us out.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So how can people reach the plug?
Theplug.co, and that's with 2 G's, theplug.co. So that's the new site. It's not officially launched yet, but I'm pretty sure by the time this airs, it will be open. So,
I like it. Ladies, you guys doing that? Yeah.
I got some things that I'm ready to sell.
Yeah.
And buy. So, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I I'd like to shift this conversation. You know, we get into a little bit of politics and entertainment and all the current events going on. So first, I'd like to mention this country is going through a very tumultuous time. Do you guys have any thoughts or predictions on what 2021 might hold? Diamond?
As you can see, it doesn't really hold too much promising things because we're stuck in the house still and we have to work jobs that are forcing us to testing or probing of the, what is it, the COVID test? Oh, sorry. No. COVID test and, I don't even talk like this.
Except for when you're mad.
Sorry. But I think that 2020 is definitely a time where we're able to actually open our eyes. Like, I don't know if anybody goes to church or have heard different pastors say that 2020 is supposed to be the year of vision. And at first, I was thinking like, oh, okay, it's going to be a real positive year. You know, everybody's going to have their visions or their manifestations come to life. But really, it was a hole. It was a standstill. It was a time for you to take a break. So I think that 2020 is a time for y'all to sit down and sit with yourselves and think what you're going to do next. Like right now, a lot of people don't have jobs. So in that time, it's been like 6-9 months or something like that. You should have been thinking about a new business for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You should have been thinking about how you can take the $5 in your pocket or that EDD money that y'all been getting, and what was you going to do with that money to survive? Because what if this goes on until 2023?
And you can.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that?
I agree with what she said. 2021 is probably just going to be an extension, as of right now, the way it's looking at this year, which is more time on your hands and what you're going to do with that time. So definitely figure out what you like, figure out what you're good at, figure out what the people need, finding solutions that you can provide as a service, and getting that out to the world, because we don't know how long it's going to last. And so if you're one of those unfortunate people that haven't been able to still work, you need some income, because you cannot rely on the government to keep coming with these stimulus checks. Either eventually going to run out, or they're just going to keep printing money and it's not going to mean nothing anymore anyway. So to figure something out. But I agree with what she said. Just figure out what you can do to provide solutions and keep income rolling in, and focus on that.
Yeah.
Find yourself.
How about you, Shaunice?
I'm like a squirrel. I put all my nuts away. I save it for a rainy day, you know. And it's been raining pretty hard for 2020, and I'm still floating. So I'm doing all right. But I see some bad things going on out there in the world, and it's not gonna get any easier. I can tell you that. So I'm just like, I've always rolled kind of solo anyway, and I'm a hustler, so I can make jello shots, I can walk runways, I could do photography, I could do a whole lot of things. I can cook, I can bake, I can dance, I can do a lot of things. So, and I've always done that. So, but some people are not creative, and they don't know what they want to do.
That's big.
And they're always that person that goes and works for other people, and I'm comfortable not working for anyone. I could, you know, like I said, I'm like a little squirrel, so I have all my little nuts over here, so I can stay afloat. But I see some horrible things out there. There's some cruel people, and they like to take advantage of the weak. So all I can advise people, like, don't be vulnerable during this time. Stay strong. Surround yourself with positive people, because those are the ones that are going to help you. The people that take from you, those are the ones that are going to let you sink. So you might want to think about, you know, if you're lonely, you might want to just be lonely and, you know, try to
Focus on you.
Yeah, you might want to do that. So I'm not really thirsty, and I'm not lonely, and I'm not any of those things, because I have the good Lord taking care of me. So, but you know, just pray for those people who are weak, naive, and vulnerable, and needy and thirsty. Pray for those people, because those people are the ones that really gonna need it around this time.
Yeah, well said. How about you, Cash?
I definitely agree with all these ladies. I feel as though 2020, I'm not a very religious man, but I wanted to touch on what she said. It was the year of the vision, and I kind of agree with that statement only because it's waking people up. It's allowing them to see exactly what they need to do to really get in their groove of life. You know, they got to reassess what is important to them, reprioritize everything from top to bottom. And I think a lot of people actually make some type, I do feel unfortunate, and I'm really, really sorry for the people who are just absolutely struggling, but a lot of people I don't feel are struggling. They just have poor spending habits. So I feel like if you focus on what you spend more, and then you'll be saving more, and you know, it's like a whole cycle. So people just have poor spending habits. Yeah, get your financial planning. Like she said, she has her nuts squirreled away for a rainy day. That's very, very good financial literacy. And I think us as a community suffer because we don't have that. We don't practice stuff like that.
Well, we're about to with your program,
Oh,
right?
definitely.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. And, I did want to forget, I should have started out with this, Chadwick Boseman, the late, great Chadwick Boseman. So sad. It's just a devastating, situation. When I heard about it, I was in the drive-thru at El Pollo Loco, and I decided to just check my news tab on Yahoo, and then boom, they said he passed away from colon cancer. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I didn't even know he had cancer of any kind. I think that when people are going through those kind of events and they still continue to like shine a light on others, like that's like amazing. To me, he was God sent for people to see that you can have cancer and still do your day to day. Still, like even though you're going to do treatments, you're still on the set doing a movie. I think that shows you as an individual, whether you're famous or not, that you can still do what you're trying to do, even if you got a cold, you got the COVID, you got cancer, if you got diabetes. Don't let those things hinder you or stop you from being who you are. Because you can still be who you are in the process.
Yeah, I think that it was very sad. I didn't know anything about it. A friend of mine told me, and a few other people said they noticed. They thought he might have been getting a little thinner, but outside of that, he was carrying himself really well, like you said, like a professional, while he was still making his appearances and filming his movies and all the stuff. And I just think that was a great example. Unfortunately, on his way out, just to show people, like, no matter what you're going through, you can make it work, make it happen. So I think you're right. He was just a great actor, and from my understanding, I didn't follow him closely, but I thought he did obviously a great thing with Black Panther and other films, and he did a lot of speaking engagements and just encouraging people, especially the youth, and just where you can go if you just follow your heart, put in some work. Which he clearly did, dedicated. It was sad to hear. I thought he was a nice guy. I thought he did a great job at what he did, and it was just sad to hear. You see all the pictures, and then you see the films coming in after everything happened, and it was just sad. It was just sad to hear.
Any words from you guys on Chadwick?
My name is Shaunice, and I'm an actress, so I follow actors, and I watch a lot of movies, and I followed him, and one of the movies that I really admired was the James Brown one.
Oh, Get On Up.
It's called Get On Up. And I looked at this guy, and I was like, gosh, you got something there, and I watched him grow into the Black Panther, and I was just like, that was a sensation. Like, nothing topped it as an all-black film. I just thought it was excellent in my eyes. I was really saddened by it because you work so hard at something, and then you give yourself to people. And he visited children that had cancer, And kids, you don't, when you're a kid, everything is amplified. And that means so much to kids, you know. So I think we lost a really great person, a human being. And we will miss him, I'm sure. A lot of us will miss him, his talents.
I feel as though his team was so solid because nobody knew nothing.
Yes.
Nobody knew nothing. So it was like his team held him down, and I feel like that was his backbone because he was showing a strong face for the public at all times, like because nobody knew anything. So, and nobody's strong all the time. So, shout out to his team, shout out to the people that are still alive that took care of him, to help him, to uplift him, to make those type of movies, to provide the sensation or stuff like that. So, and see the kids, and that's dope. And definitely, I didn't follow him, but the fact that he was out there doing all that type of incredible things and making these type of positive impacts on the world, and he looks similar to me, I thought that was so dope, so dope. So he will definitely be there, for sure.
Well, rest in peace, Chadwick. Your legacy lives on, and we will continue to watch your films. They aired Black Panther on ABC. What was it? Was it NBC or ABC? One of those networks. They aired it on Saturday or Sunday, and I stayed up and watched it. So, yeah. So okay. Well, going back to our predictions for 2021, do you guys think there will be a mandatory vaccine?
Oh, they trying? Well, I don't know about trying, but there's been talks of it. I've heard in other parts of the world about it. I don't want it. I don't need it. And if I can avoid it, I'm not getting it.
Okay.
I think vaccines, especially when they're new, you just need time. And because it's so fresh and things are so current right now, and for you to, and that's not to say they're going to do it right away, but if they were to do it right away, like the beginning of next year or something like that, I'm not for that. You need way more time to check different, I don't know, get some volunteers, I don't know. But check it out, give it some time and really see what these side effects are, because it's always well after the fact, oh, by the way, this causes this, and there's already been super talks about vaccines, period, causing autism in children and various other things. And it even goes even deeper if you want to talk about children of color, specifically African American children, how they're exposed, because a lot of vaccines in general are generalized. They don't take into consideration your genetic makeup. They don't take into consideration anything really besides your weight. That's it. And outside of our weight, we have so many differences between us that just shooting everybody up with, no, sorry, no.
I'm with you on that.
Right, yeah,
Yes,
no,
yes.
I'm not with the vaccinations. I even just heard that November is when they're going to start rolling out the vaccinations and like kind of start the process of making it mandatory. But like I had said earlier, I'm not getting none of that. I own my own everything. I work for myself. Here I am on the podcast. And I got a car, so I'll be driving places instead of flying. I don't have no problem with homeschooling, if that has to come to that. But yeah, it's kind of like when you get an iPhone for myself, because I don't know about anybody else. When iPhone be rolling out their new phones or their new updates, I always wait. I will never do it the first day or the first time it drops. I always wait because it's always something. It's a bug, it's a something. So like she said, wait a minute. Let's see what really is about to happen first, and give it to Sally Sue first.
Yeah, how about you guys? What you guys think about it?
I think it's not scientifically sound, like she was stating earlier, and the fact that it's being pushed by somebody who's not a doctor, I think is ludicrous for sure. Like, how is a business? I don't know. I feel like Bill Gates and his posse is the main culprits behind this push for the vaccine. They've invested heavily into stuff like this over the years, so they're going to reap huge amounts of money from it, which I think is the wrong type of
Exactly.
when it comes to health concerns, but it's just too many back-ended, dark-ended looking alleyways with this vaccine stuff. I'm definitely not for it.
Well, I remember, well, first of all, I am terrified of needles. So
Yeah.
I would hate to go to the doctor just to get my immunizations. Because I was born with asthma and I was in and out of the hospital a lot. And they used to give shots for asthmatics. I believe it was epinephrine, and it would make your heart race so fast. I would feel like my heart would jump out of my body. And I hate needles. Okay, so that would be a no for me on the vaccine. I don't even get a flu shot. And the only reason why I did get a flu shot when it first came out is because it was mandatory for pregnant women, and I was pregnant at the time.
That's the time I got one too.
But that was the only time I did the flu shot. So if I have a choice to have this COVID-19 shot, no, I would say no. I hear a lot of things. So if you don't get the shot, you can get fined, you can go to jail, I hear all these rumors, but I'm not,
if you don't take it. Like,
Right.
I'm
There's a
not,
database for everything.
Yeah, it's
no,
true.
if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. So I'm not broken.
Right.
Don't
Like,
touch
I'm
me.
fine.
What about how Bill Gates and all them was saying how they didn't want to do they wanted to put together the vaccine, but they didn't really want to push it until the blacks was on board.
Yeah, I heard that too.
What's up with that?
I heard that they need more African Americans for testing.
I was about to say,
But
because we're more resilient,
But,
and we can
um,
take more pain still to this day as a common belief in the medical field, and if we are on board,
Right.
then they can start offering it in our communities, which they already do, to people, giving them gift cards and whatnot, so
Yeah.
that you can come and get these things, so they can figure out what's wrong. That's the testing. That's the testing. So, yeah, no, shoot.
No, I won't be doing it.
Yeah, I guess we all won't be doing it.
But even with the flu vaccines, they're like
Now,
this
if
new
the
strain of
price is
flu all the
right,
time.
no,
With the flu vaccines, there's a bunch of different strains. You get a flu vaccine for strain A, and then next flu season, here's strain B, and what did you get it for?
Right, there's different
And
strains.
so COVID is so new, and they don't know what's going on with it, that whatever you shooting us up with might not even protect us from what's potentially to come in the future, just like the flu. So why am I finna sit up here and let you do that to me unless you have some kind of ulterior motive? Maybe that's not the correct words, but some kind of financial incentive to get all these people,
Financial.
you know, stuck with this stuff. And I say stuff, because
Yeah.
most of us do not know what's in, even when you go get your regular vaccines for you and your baby.
And that's why I don't
you don't even know what they're doing.
I don't get
I
my
think what's
kids,
interesting
don't get
too,
flu
right,
shots.
is the I guess the pass rate or the success rate of recovery. The recovery rate, that's the word I'm looking for. The recovery rate is like 99% or something like that.
From COVID?
From COVID, and yet they're only pushing the death toll.
That's right.
And even the death toll is inflated because most of these people are dying from other causes, and they just might have had COVID at the time, and they're chalking it up to the numbers. Like I seen a report from 33 Florida labs, all like hyped up their numbers, and they got caught and busted for that. They saying the NFL just got caught for hiking up their COVID numbers. So it's like all these. It just seems like a pandemic, not a pandemic.
And there was a lot of shift from
I like that.
deaths to just people who contracted it
Just-
as well.
exactly.
It wasn't even, it was just, oh, this many people died, and I think maybe once the numbers started to fall, maybe it's a lot of people that I know are dying, but it's from various reasons. But now it's just, oh, this many cases are in this town and in this, but it's like, a lot of people caught COVID and recovered. So, okay,
Even
And
The Rock
some
said,
people-
The Rock, what did he say, recently The Rock was in the news, he said his whole family tested for COVID like a long time ago.
Oh,
And nothing ever happened.
this is,
So,
yeah.
what were you gonna say, Shaunice?
I was gonna say that some people had COVID and didn't even know they had COVID
Yeah.
and was still going to work every day, so. because no one said that, you know, COVID was here in November of last year. So it was here already. So who was to say that? They weren't even keeping track of it.
Also,
Then,
like all the measurements they're even recommending, like face masks and stuff like that. I had mine on my neck, but that's what I was reaching for. But yeah, face masks, they don't even like protect you from it. Like the microscopic thing is like so small compared to the
Masks only protect you from the actual droplets themselves, but the COVID virus is not filtered by the masks.
Exactly.
So if someone directly,
just call.
I mean, wear your mask. Not saying don't wear your mask, but it's not as protective as some people believe it is. And then the different ones, especially the ones that are being pushed for fashion purposes, which I'm not saying don't buy. Something is better than nothing. I ain't trying to take nobody's money out their pocket.
right.
But at the same time, I'm just saying, like, you know, there's so many things to it. And they don't know what they doing. They just
Guessing.
I agree. Today is this 6 feet, 16 feet. It lasts for 24 hours, lasts for 6 hours. It gets killed in 98 degrees. No,
Right.
it don't.
They
Maybe
keep
I
changing
don't
it.
mind.
They keep changing it, like.
And I know it takes time to figure things out, but you should probably like figure things out and then tell them.
Well, they should just say,
and
we
then
don't
tell
know.
us.
Just be honest. Say, we don't really know. Instead of guessing. Oh, wear a mask. Oh, wash your hands. Oh, do this. Oh, do that. No, you need to figure it out and stop saying 6 feet, 12 feet, 35 feet. Stay in your house. Don't come out. Only go to the store.
When everybody's seeing the reports coming from China for this,
Mm-hmm.
did you guys think it was gonna be like a zombie apocalypse?
No.
If it did, I'm ready.
I was ready for it,
No. Well, you know what?
I'm ready.
It wasn't even
yeah. 'Cause of China,
the disease that was worrying me. It's people's reaction to it. So when everybody going to get all the toilet tissue, going to get all the food off the shelves, that was more of my concern, is just moving forward in time. If this continues or anything else was to take place, how prepared am I to be stuck at home for weeks at a time? Do I have food prepared and different things like that? So that's more where my head was. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, we're all about to die. I'm just not that person. I'm like, we could. I don't know. I'm not a panicker. I'm more of a, this is what's going on. Let me get my shit together if I don't already have it together, and then go from there and
Right.
see what's happening. And then I started looking up stuff from the CDC, started listening to certain news outlets, comparing different stories, doing my own little baby
That's
research
right.
from different sources to see what made sense to me and what didn't, based on what's being told to us
Right.
versus what I actually know scientifically and what I'm reading and stuff. And doing that research on my own helped me to keep calm about certain things and not be flipping out. Whereas when you listen to the media about everything, because it's constantly changing,
Right.
you lose your mind.
Right.
And you get all these reports of people dying left and right, but you don't really know the whole story about
Right.
pre-existing conditions, and then everybody just goes into a panic.
Well, my thing is, for one, I think we should all be prepared anyway for in
Yes.
case we have an earthquake, because this is an earthquake state. So we should always have a backpack of canned goods and some bottled water and
Right.
tissue and whatever else we need to have. But when I first was learning about the coronavirus, I was just like, wow, this is scary. Like, I was really, and I have panic attacks. So I was really freaking scared. And I didn't want to come out. And then I have another friend, I would talk to them about it, and they were scared too. They weren't coming out, and I was just like, I'm not going out.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you know, you have to read and you have to gather information, do your own research. And then you have to come up with your own solution, your
Right.
own, what makes you comfortable.
I agree.
So,
Okay. All right. Well, just to get into the next topic here, the fight for social justice and the end of police brutality seemed to unite people at the beginning of the shutdown. Now it feels like people have retreated to their political and ideological concerns, but none of the problems have been solved. So, how do you approach these issues with the people in your circles, and do you think that the media is fueling the chaos?
I would definitely agree with that. Media is for sure feeding the chaos. They're fear mongering at its finest because that's what gets ratings. So they have an incentive to meet their bottom line, and I feel like once you understand that, you can understand a lot. But as far as the social injustice uniting people. I think it's always been socially unjust for us. Like, we've always experienced that. Like, if you're a person of color, you've always experienced that. What I think would happen, what we witnessed in these recent months, was something similar to a trending effect. It was more like a challenge to a lot of these people. Like, you know, there's challenges that go viral. It was more like that, I feel like, than it was actual support. Because when the protesting actually did start happening, you start seeing riots from people that weren't even from Oakland.
Yeah.
And they were like fucking up black businesses and shit like that. So it's like, I did not feel like everybody was united. I do feel like it did, what it did do positively was it raised awareness on a mainstream level. So it got mainstream attention, which I'm definitely proud of, because we needed it. We needed that voice to be heard. So I'm definitely happy for that. But I don't feel like we're not united. But I'm also working with my team to make sure we actually get united, a real type of communion going.
How about you, Brandy?
Well, at my job, they started, they call it the Black Town Hall, and it's specifically, and I say specifically for the African American members of my job, which even stirred a little bit of trouble, because some of the non-black people who wanted to be supporters were like, why can't we join? And it had to be explained to them, like, it's supposed to be a safe space for African Americans to really just say how they feel while all of this is going on, because we are all experiencing it on some level, and be there to support each other and be able to speak freely and not have to, you know, limit and curb what you're saying because, you know, so-and-so's in here as an ally wanting to help. But then even if they really are there to be helpful, if they don't understand something, you shouldn't have to take time out of expressing your feelings to explain your feelings to this person who's just, why can't you just, or why don't y'all just? I don't have the time for that. That's not what this is for. This is for a space for us to share our experience, be heard, and then have the support of your community, as well as get to know one another so that we can support each other. So they started that in my job, which I thought was really nice. And it's been going on maybe just for the last 2 months, and they just minimized it because there was so many of us, not so many, but enough of us that there was able to make it smaller groups so we can be even more like closer to one another. And so I thought that was pretty neat, and makes it, it's good. People need people, you know, especially during COVID while everything is going on. Everyone's so separated because of all of that. It's nice to be able to have a group of people that specifically serve the purpose of sharing those experiences that make you feel upset, angry, less than sad, hurt, and all of that, whether it's coming directly from your job or from the outside world. So I thought that that was a really good idea, and it's been really helpful for people so far. So that's what they're doing in my job.
Okay. And you guys ever had the same experience or going through that with me?
I think that is a really good idea. I'm just gonna talk about like I used to work in banking for a long time, and one of the things is team building, getting to know other people, and role playing, because we all come from different backgrounds and we all come from different cultures, and you really have to learn how to understand other people. I think at the end of the day, it's just a matter of respect. And if I respect you, you respect me. It doesn't really matter if you're, what color you are, what religion. If I speak, speak.
Yeah.
You know, if I bow to you, bow to me. You know what I'm saying? It's an equal thing. We're all on this planet together. So we definitely need to learn how to respect one another.
Okay. All right. Well, to get into the next topic here, and before I do, since we're discussing about party and entertainment, anyone want to go for a shot? Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody else?
Diamond about the whole situation.
The diamond.
So in regards to the last topic that was just discussed, I wouldn't say that we've come together or have like unified, but there are certain groups or members in certain communities that are trying to take part and trying to physically fully understand the Black experience, not because they want to use it against us, but because they really didn't understand how bad it was. I'm not saying everybody, but there are a few in my own personal community that has, like, you know, came to, like, certain groups of Black people who are hanging out on the neighborhood corners or whatever to see, like, what have they experienced. And they've, you know, had, like, barbecues and shared food. So, I mean, they're trying something. I'm not giving them a hands up or trying to say that that's what we need, but
You're acknowledging it.
Exactly.
at least there's somebody trying. And, you know, if you want to know, then you can look it up on Google. You can talk to your neighbors. I'm sure everybody got a neighbor that's Black or of color, sorry. But to move on to the next thing, how do you guys feel about the DA offering Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend a plea deal? If he would say that she was a part of organized crime, and how are we going to change this corrupt policing system?
That is a great question. I have not had any information about that recent development. I was just aware that he still has not charged the officers involved in that case, and he's had a whole ass wedding and engagement, and he's been having fun. He's been living his life, and he has not been taking this seriously. Yet there's been over, I think the petition count is like 5 million or something like that. So it's like, if democracy really worked for Black people, that's a clear statement right there of what the fuck we want. Clearly, and nobody's even, like, it's just falling on deaf ears. So,
Yeah, I did not hear that as well. I think that's typical. So I ain't gonna say crazy because that's what happens on occasion. What will it take to change? Y'all should have seen my face. I'm sorry. I was just I had a conversation with my stepmom, and she was explaining some history to me that I did not know, just about how the police was even started in their job and who they were to police and what their job was. And I am just going to say that they are continuing to do what they were meant to do.
Yeah.
And so changing that, there's going to be some adjustments that are probably going to be made just because you have to, because you're in a public eye, and if it gets too bad, you're going to obviously have some blowback and people start wilding out. But at the end of the day, the changes, I don't foresee anytime soon in a major way, because we all know it's a systemic problem. This is nothing, it's not even United States. It is a worldwide thing, but obviously mostly prevalent here because of the way things are. And so, yeah, it's gonna be our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren that may get to see a little something, as long as we all continue to work together and try to keep pushing and making things happen, and we get ourselves together and start getting in positions of financial power, because that's where the real power comes, behind the dollar. Then things will start to change. But right now, while we are so reliant on allies and different things, because we don't have things together ourselves and don't have the financial backing, we don't have the power to stop anything.
now, I just wanted to speak on that. She said our great-grandchildren may experience something, and I think I really believe if we just consciously consume, that can happen within 6 years. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Dr. Claude Anderson. He's the author of Powernomics, president of Harvard Institute. And he wrote an article back in the early 90s that stated Black people represent 13% of the population, which is about 45 million Americans. We spend about 1.2 trillion annually. If we recycled that, just a third of that, not even all of it, just a third of that, if we just recycled that, we would all, 45 million, would be billionaires in 5 years. So we just recycled our money. We could see that turnaround. We could all be living nice lives. We just consciously have to consume. I'm not sure if you guys heard of the recent family, or it was like 19 Black families that got together and bought small patch of land, like
Yeah, I read
97
about that.
acres, and they're gonna start a whole new town. All it takes is 150 people to start a new town.
Yeah.
We could get our own policing system. Like, we could create it all from the top down. So it's totally possible, and I just think they limit our information. And when you limit somebody's information, then they
Agreed.
limit their perspective of what they think they can do.
Yeah, mindset control. You need access to information, and so the people, like you're telling all of us now, that somebody's gonna go look that up. Like, huh, that's interesting, and that's what we need is the access and somebody sharing that, so it can peak like something, and that's what has to grow. That's why I always say our grandchildren, because right now a lot of people are like, that ain't gonna work there. They need to see it happening, and then they'll be like, okay, maybe I can.
Can I ask you a question, Brandy?
Yes, ma'am.
For our viewers out there who don't know exactly what the policing system was brought up for in the beginning, since you know, can you share that with them?
Police and black people.
Oh.
Well,
From where?
let's go a little
exactly?
deeper because I just did ancestry research. I've been researching my history. And what you find is when you go back into the 1800s, the places where black people lived were called police wards. So that's why in Louisiana and Texas they have ward, 8th ward, that still carries over. Police wards, that's what they were called. And that's where we lived. We were policed and kept in certain areas.
To keep you, they had the little police dogs, all everything. They were made. The police was created for this. So they doing it.
Dang, so took it straight off with the slave pen.
So when you go and you start searching back your ancestry in the city, it'll be a county, like I don't know, Beaumont County, Louisiana, Police Ward 5. Yeah, that's where they're from the census reports.
And just a spin-off from that is the funny thing about when they defunded the police back, I think in the early 1900s, it led to I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but there was a black man. He was in the medical field, and police used to be in charge of being the first responders to medical situations, and to do that type of service, it used to be almost as a punishment to the police officer. So when they had to do a medical service in a poor black neighborhood or something like that, and they're a racist police officer, their time would suck, people would be dying, all type of stuff. So there was a black man, I really wish I could remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he came up with the first ambulance services. They they created the CPR regimen. Like, they created so much stuff that we still use today that they end up getting bought out by another company, and that's a whole nother story. Just how it goes. But they take our ideas all the time. And it's horrible, but we are always so resilient. I think we can just come out of this. Like, they just used to stick together so much. Because they had a clear vision of who the enemy was. And now it's so distracted because everybody's off their self.
It's a fun.
If
It
you
just
guys,
happened.
if you guys know the name that he's talking about, comment that below in the comment section so we can know who that is. Take out the time. We might even do
Share
a
the
raffle
education.
one of these episodes.
Right.
Who coming with it first?
Oh, shoot, okay. All right. So next I want to talk about the nightlife has taken a hit during COVID. We understand why bars and nightclubs were shut, but what do you think will happen when they reopen? Should people be piling into clubs?
They are gonna pile in the club.
They already are.
There's people like Vallejo's still open. Applebee's is open. Chevy's Black Bear Diner. A couple of bars.
For
people-
indoor dining?
Outdoor.
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 But there are some venues, clubs and bars that are accepting people sit indoor as long as you have a mask.
With the 6 feet apart thing and all that. Oh, okay.
What do you think about that? Because I know you're into the nightlife.
It's interesting because right before COVID hit, I just started a new party series called Low Key Situations. That
Right.
was taking off. That was our last event together.
Yeah.
You killed
Yeah.
it. You came through and
That was
killed
the
it.
last
So,
one.
and
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was like in
That was a while ago.
February. That was in February.
Yeah.
So, and then like COVID hit, so I couldn't do any more events. But I feel like it should be safe enough. I think the numbers should definitely be down. and I'm only saying this not out of a personal reason, but because, like I said, scientifically, the recovery rate for this so-called virus is 99. Oh, the recovery rate for this virus is like 99%. So it's no more different from the normal strain of flu that comes out every year, at least scientifically speaking. I feel like the media has hyped it up to another level. They social engineered this monster to where you can't even be out in public without a mask on, without people looking at you crazy and weird. Even though I believe on the CDC website itself, it says if you're healthy, there's no need to wear a mask.
What? What kind of shit is that? They said that? Wow.
Well, it says when you're not around people,
Right.
and you think that you're healthy, there's no need to wear a mask. But if you know you're going to be in a space that has people, then they recommend that you put something on. So, but,
What about you guys? You guys gonna be up in clubs and stuff or what?
I'm going to answer that question next.
No face, no case. Look.
No comment.
I don't really know. Like, I don't know because. Well, no, I probably won't. Not the first. Like, the same thing with the phones and the vaccine. The first go around, I'll be in the house. And if the news be like, and the people at this club, oh, yep, see. Well, that week.
Yeah, I don't think I would just venture off to some random thing, but if it was maybe smaller venues, people that I know the majority of, and I know and they're operating some kind of way, maybe limiting the amount of people. I'm not going to go to some tiny little hole in the wall, but you're in a big enough venue, they're limiting the amount of people, and it's just that important that I go, maybe. I'd be more inclined to go see a show than I would a club, if that makes any sense. I would feel a little bit more, because people aren't moving around as much, doing, maybe they can
space people out too.
Yeah, I just feel like that. I know that they were testing that theory in some other country where they were giving people free concerts, and they gave them like these, when you come into the venue, they would give you a tracker so they could get the data to see how you're moving and all that kind of stuff, and they were spacing people out in the seats. And so they are working on ways to figure out how to safely open up, events and things like that. So, like she said, we'll see.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think even at like basketball games, like for example the Chase Center, I think they could let a certain amount of people in if they just space everyone out. Everyone could sit like every 3 seats or something like that. You know what I mean? Just so they could start making money again and we could start seeing the Warriors. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. So, what about you, Shaunice?
I get out, okay? But when I go out, I only show up for like an hour or two anyway. So, but I won't be getting out anytime soon. Not like at a public place, I'll have to wait and see what happens because there's too much stuff out there right now. And everybody's going to be anxious. You're going to have to control yourself. People are going to want to get out. They're going to want to get out to eat. They're going to want out. They're going to get loose. And I'm going to be watching it all.
Right, exactly.
Unsafe.
Like, they're going to get loose. There's some heathens out there. I've been checking people out.
Yeah.
Just imagine when it opens up.
Oh yeah.
But people need some kind of release. So I would say, I don't know if the club or the concert is the answer, but people who have been following the majority of the guidelines, being stuck at home, like she said, if you don't let them out soon to do something, they're going to lose their mind a little bit. So you need to figure out a way to, I said a long time ago, we can't just sit down for 2 weeks. Nobody got to pay no bills. Nobody got to go to work. You ain't got to get other than, food, people, whatever. But for real, sit down for 2 weeks. Just everybody stay at home. I don't think everything would stop. We still doing online ordering, all that. And if everybody just sit down for do an extra week, 3 weeks. No bills, you ain't got to worry about work and none of that. Worry about your kids. And then sanitize the stuff while we all at home. And then now come out and now let's see what the numbers look like. I don't know why you can't. It seems like it's more trouble trying to do all these moving this, changing this, than just making everybody sit down. But I know a lot of people didn't want to do that, so that's the that's problematic. So everybody doesn't agree with masks the same way everybody doesn't agree with staying at home.
Yeah. Right.
So-
They don't agree with hand sanitizer. They don't agree with a lot.
Yeah, more people. So that's always my thought. Why can't we just sit down for a couple weeks
I'm just
and
gonna sit
see?
down.
Yeah, they say that's all it take. Quarantine is 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So I say do it for 3 weeks. Sit us down. Don't go
The
nowhere.
whole month.
But they have to think about the homeless people. 'Cause even though we all who got homes have been
This
2
is
or
true.
3 weeks, those people who don't have homes and are, rummaging through trash and doing what they do on their day to day.
Mm-hmm. That's
They
true.
Like their immune system might be way stronger than ours.
Oh, of course.
That's
It's all a possibility. We are. Who
They're
knows?
around the system all the time.
It's just like some people are asymptomatic. So it's like, who knows? So that's why I kind of.
And just to touch bases on like getting some stress relief out, the plug, the company that I want to like do, this is, our proceeds are 100% towards the empowerment of our people. So one of the first programs, we're going to be doing many programs. One of the first programs we teamed up with Zara Fitness. She's a local fitness instructor here in the Bay Area.
I follow her.
Oh, that's great.
Yay.
And we're going to be doing a women's self-defense class. So ladies, please inquire about that. It's going to be, the instructor's a ex-Marine, I want to say. It's some type of military branch, but he knows what he's talking about, and he can definitely prepare you for any type of life situations.
Will this be through Zoom, like virtual?
No. She has an in-person spot in Oakland, but it will be social distance.
Yeah.
But you still get your lessons in.
Okay. All right. So you guys, Joe Budden is in the news with commentary about why he turned down the deal with Spotify. This issue sounds similar to what happened between Monique and Netflix. Joe is speaking about inequality and how major media corporations devalue and lowball black entertainers.
True.
How so?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. First of all, even in the entertainment world, in the corporate world, we have always, as African Americans and Latinos, been underpaid, underrated, not recognized. They're gonna pass the work down to us, and we just work like little bees. But that's all gonna change now. I think that a lot of people are opening their eyes and recognizing it's been going on, and a lot of African Americans are speaking up and standing up for themselves. Even Serena Williams, when she says, look, just because I stand up for myself doesn't mean that, we all have a voice, and people need to respect that voice, period, and I want to make the same kind of money, as anyone else.
Yeah.
I want to be treated fairly in my marriage and outside of marriage. I'm not married, I'm just saying. Before I'm gonna put it out there. So anyway, yeah.
How about you, Brandon?
I agree with everybody. I feel as though in this situation that people just need to, on the other side, as far as the bigger corporations, not the small people like Joe and the bigger corporations, they need to have a more open eye on what's going on in the world and society. We are individuals, we are human beings, we are people. We're not just the people back doors who's holding doors. We're not just the people who's cleaning the laundry. Like, we are also doing the same things that y'all is doing as in big corporations, but we don't have the, Cash was saying, we don't have the certain literacies that will, help us get to the level that we should be on, so that we could, have y'all see us eye to eye on the same plane. But overall, we as black entertainers probably should come together and try to put together our own entertainment system. You know what I'm saying? I think that was Master P and Jay-Z who said something like that. We need to, Chris had said earlier, we need to start putting our money together in our own things,
Isn't Master P coming out with his own rice?
his own whole little brand.
Yeah, his own rice.
Rice
Replacing with Aunt Jemima or something.
Oh.
No, Rice was Uncle Ben,
I thought it
and
was
the
noodles.
pancake, he got that
You
too.
got noodles too?
He got a whole, he got a whole southern little thing going
Right
on.
on.
You know, that's my.
Yeah,
he
right. He's always been.
something.
That's right.
About his business.
That's
I
right.
feel like Tyler Perry's a good example.
Yes.
too.
Kershaw was saying the
Example.
same thing.
I listened to an interview I think T.I. had with him, and he was going into his history about how
Saw that.
he was making like $75 million before he even hit Hollywood because black people were rocking with him so hard.
Yeah.
And it's like,
The
we
plays.
have so much money. We don't spend it with us, but when we did spend it with us, look what we did. We created a fucking billionaire.
That's
we only
right.
13 black billionaires.
Right.
We created a billionaire in like 10 years
Come
because
on.
we just fucked with his plays.
And he got his whole.
And now he repaid us back by buying that whole
Oh,
entire
that's a
studio, and
beautiful
he's about to
place.
rent it out to people,
Yeah.
us for the low. And I'm like, that's a fucking living example of exactly what we can do on a
Exactly.
global scale.
Mm-hmm.
It takes
Yeah.
It's
time.
when they don't know is
Yeah,
what
you
messes
gotta-
it up.
That's what it's gonna take time. But you gotta spoon feed people.
Right.
Yeah.
Spoon feed them, because a lot of people don't want to do certain things. Like the mentality, the white supremacy is what we're trying to tear down, but it's not an actual physical thing. It's a mind state.
It's a fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a fear, and once you overcome that fear, you can do anything.
Right.
But it's also a
Anything.
sacrifice, and I think that's what a lot of people run from. Like Monique and obviously Joe, you have to sacrifice. Dave Chappelle, you
Nick Cannon.
sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sacrifice a lot to stand for what you believe in and to support your own people, to turn down this money they throwing at you, to fight even your own people that's telling you you need to do this or you want this. It's a sacrifice to be the one to stand up to fight for it. And a lot of people, I think they are strong enough, but they don't believe that they are strong enough to do that, especially in the public, but especially today's day and age of social media. Everybody coming at you from left and right. Then you got, that's just people talking. Then you have the actual people who do the business that are trying to, well, we'll mess with you, but only for this and only for that. And it's very hard to keep saying no to something that you know your value and they're devaluing you. And then you got people on the side that's like, you ain't good anyway. You know, it's just really hard. And I think that's why some people just take the deal from the other people instead of like Tyler Perry chose to do. I'm gonna just keep doing this. I know my audience. I'm gonna work in this sector and it's gonna grow hopefully and do that. A lot of people will start and it's not giving them the numbers that they want. And then they either sell their stuff to somebody that got the machine to put behind it, or they just take the little weak deal from the people. So it's a sacrifice, and a lot of people, I don't even want to say don't want to do it. Some people have families to feed, and things going on in their life, or they have a camp of people, they have a team that they trying to support, and they've been holding the whole thing on their own, and they like, man, if I don't get something going soon, all of us gonna lose a job.
Right.
So then they sell out in some people's eyes, and they take that deal instead of everybody on that team being on board to sacrifice for the greater good. And that's where I think we all need to kind of get on one accord, is understanding what we're facing under, like, the, you know, all the struggles that people went through in the past. We were talking about how we stuck together and all that kind of stuff, while we were able to do so much better as a people before. I think everybody understood the goal and was on one accord about what we're actually about to face. This is not going to be an easy ride, and we may not be the receivers of the benefits, but we still must do it, and that doesn't often happen.
That's true.
So,
Do you think that black entertainers are exploited?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are. But, you know, it's a mindset, once again. If you are strong-minded and you are comfortable of, say for instance, because I get asked all the time to do nudity. And I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Because I have a nice body and people want to see my clothes off. All right, now I'm not going to take my clothes off for anyone. But, you know, and they do sell themselves short because they're going to take the money. And it's not always the case, you know. I may need money. I may run out of nuts in about, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 years, I don't know, but I don't, if I don't generate more or plan, and that's really what it's about, like strategically planning and having the right team. Like, we're a team of people, but I can't have anybody on my team weak because that's gonna have me sink, and I can't sink.
Yeah.
So if, for one, I don't trust my team, you're not gonna be on my team.
Right.
And I'm not gonna have anybody that doesn't have the same amount of courage as I do. So and I work with people all the time, and I see people all the time. So, excuse me, I could tell just by speaking to somebody in 5 minutes if you're gonna crumble. So it's important when you do have a team, everybody on that team has to be strong.
Right.
Like, they can't be weak.
That's true.
And that's just my intake on that. But
How about you, Cash? Do you think black entertainers are exploited?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they're exploited because a lot of people like she was talking about, in their corner don't give them the proper support, and a lot of the times it's like mental support that people need, not even like physical or financial support, because it's like they'll go into the business meeting or something and they'll have this high expectation, and the person on the other side of the room will be like, well, this is what it is. And they'll be so solid the way they just frame that argument and stuff like that, but when you're sitting on the other side of the table and you know your worth, and you got people, the team behind you that know your worth, you're more inclined to be like,
That's right.
like, what? But if you had a team of people behind you like, oh, you're not that good, they're like half-assing it, you're like, damn, like, it's like we're social animals at the end of the day. That's how we became the top of the pyramid in the food chain right now, like, because we work together. But now we're getting so distant and falling apart. But I think that that's important for sure, and that's the reason, because we don't support each other like we should.
strong mind.
Ladies, any thoughts on that?
Just bubbling off of everybody else that's already spoken. I think, just to tie everything together, we as black people have been so broken down from the very beginning, from wherever we came from to here. We have been broken down so much to where we need someone to tell us, you're good, you're great.
That validation.
And again, I'm black, so I don't know what white people go through. But, I feel like I've heard somebody say, I did hear somebody say, or read somebody say, that the black people are the only people who need somebody to say, oh, good job, I'm glad you did that, I appreciate your work. Whereas the the white people, they do it, if for whatever reason they do it, and they don't look for, they don't need to have somebody say, oh, you did that, great job. And so they were in the argument, this is on World Star, some kind of, I can't remember what the post was even about, but it was something about black people against white people. And so the lady or the man, whoever it was on there doing their little spiel about black people and how black people this and black people that. And of course, other people was on there, and everybody hiding behind all these little emojis or avatars or whatever. So you don't know whether they're black or white, Asian or whatever. But they're going back and forth about history. And I'm reading, I'm like, what? I really wish I knew who y'all was. Because the things you're saying, it makes sense, but then it doesn't. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Our producer, Misha.
Well, the thing is, we're this melting pot now, right? After 1965, you guys understand that prior to the Civil Rights Bill, it was just basically mostly us and white people, right? The mass immigration didn't come until after the Civil Rights Bill, 1964, 65. So immigration was let in as kind of a buffer class between us so that we didn't do the things that you talk about as far as group economics, so that we would become the consumers that we are. Because before that, before integration, we love Martin Luther King, but he even said it himself at the end. He even said himself that we may have integrated into a burning house. But because we did that, Black Wall Street, there was black towns all over the country.
Yeah.
And we were lending money to them.
Hello.
So all these little Chinatowns or towns, they're doing what we did. We did that.
Right.
But bombs get dropped on us
Yes.
when we do that because they already know.
Literally.
They already know.
For y'all that don't
They already know.
Here.
So,
We are at the top.
right. So I say that to say this about integration, and we're all Americans, okay? But you have a lot of people. This is the land of milk and honey. Now, the shining city on the hill, people come from all over the world to benefit off of what our ancestors sacrificed for us. And that's not nothing against anybody else. But it is what it is. And when you talk about the group economics, the first thing we need to do is put value on the blood of our ancestors in this soil. Okay? You said something, Cash. You said, I can't remember right now, but that's what made me say, we have to first, because every other culture speaks the name of their ancestors. They put value on their lineage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? We're in this people of color pot. Okay? So, and it's fine because one of the things that we did in 1964 was welcome, immigrants. But when they go to the king, they not necessarily looking out for us, but we looking out for everybody. And it's true what they say that anything that uplifts up will uplift everybody. That's how it's always been. But we have to not necessarily segregate ourselves from other people. It's not about, we need to take, because this is a fight for resources now. You guys don't understand that everything is changing. Nothing is going back to normal. We talk about group economics, but what if they change the currency on us? Then what we going to do? Nothing's going back the same. Everybody's scrapping for resources. We can't spend all our energy elevating other groups. We got to consider ourselves. And if we just start doing that, think of it that way. It's not an exclusionary thing, but you have to honor the sacrifice. And I'm I hope y'all can feel me when I say this.
Yes.
The way you put that was very
Because they had no hope for freedom. They had no hope for anything. Everything they did was about us.
Yeah.
And we have to take, it's an African proverb, there's the womb and the ancestors are one and the same. We have to live like nothing is more important than our great-great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
Because they're going to look up and they're going to have to fight for freedom all over again if we don't stop partying and bullshitting. And I'm serious. I'm serious. So, again, it's not about segregationists. It's everybody that think black people that speak like this is a Trump supporter. No, not necessarily. It's reality. And we have to think politically. It's not about your feelings. And we have to understand that everything is changing. And we have to get on code. The way our ancestors did it. They did it. They survived it. They survived. They went through Reconstruction. They survived everything, and we here. We can survive for our kids, but we got to think right.
Right.
We got to think right. We can't be led by every bit of propaganda. Yeah. That is a tool. I have a master's degree in public administration. People think sometimes you just be talking, but just because you don't know what somebody's talking about don't mean they don't know what they're talking about. So we have to get that out of the way when we trying to teach each other stuff. Propaganda, they teach you anybody that has any education in anything political over high school. Media is the propaganda spreading arm of the government, period. Yeah. You can't believe nothing. Even your favorite whoever you think telling the truth, you can't believe them. Right. You got to go to that source material. Them articles, you got to read what they read to write that article because something got left out.
Yeah.
So
things that are going to represent your agenda.
We got to start thinking right and put more respect, more reverence on the blood of your ancestors.
That's a good one.
That's just the bottom line. Once you do that,
they don't teach us about Black history no more.
It's not us to them.
They
It's
don't
up to
teach
us.
us. They don't teach us about the, any of the history. I'm not gonna just speak on black people. They don't even dang dare teach us about the Mexican history no more. I remember going to school, learning about Cinco de Mayo, learning about Rosa Parks, learning about the slave trade, and they are barely teaching. And I'm talking about in elementary school. They might do that in high school, but I feel like that's almost too late. Your parents had already fed you whatever they was gonna feed you at that point. So now you just learning what the school want to teach you. That's your mind at high school. Like, oh, I just gotta learn this. But if you would have been learning this from the time that you was able to learn something, some kids it might be 5, some kids it might be a little bit later. But if you start teaching your kids certain things from the beginning, your kids will, like we said, our great grandchildren or however many greats it's gonna be, will be the ones to help have this road or this land being really equal for everybody, possibly. But again, we all together as a community, whites, blacks, Asians, everybody, as a community have to start teaching our little ones something about their history. So that way they can start fighting like how we're trying to like make a point. If no one knows about the point, then how they teach them the point?
Right, and that's the reason why I jumped in to say, and that's the last thing I'm gonna say. With the mass immigration, and this is a melting pot, you know, we all live here together.
Right.
But you have people who are here and they love this country. You know, they came to this country to make their way, and they always say, you know, they started from nothing. They came here from nothing, and they do it. And this is a place where you do that. And you get in these rooms and these conversations, and they don't know enough about American history to say the things that they say and to say the things about you that they say. They don't understand that the reason why they are here and can do what they did is because of our ancestors. It's because of us. So consider that when you're speaking to people, and, you know, be able to tell them, well, did you know? You know, and why don't you look here and understand this? Because you really don't know enough about the political history of this country to say the things that you say.
It's funny you mentioned that. I went to University of San Francisco. Great school. You know what I mean? All the professors, great. Just put that out there. But in every class I went to, you know, it's predominantly, you know, rich white kids I go there. And the professors are just spewing out the wrong history of black people, okay? And I had this one specific teacher. He was 25 years old, graduate from Harvard. So he was really sheltered his whole life, whatever. But this motherfucker, okay, in Foundations of Rhetoric class, he was like, what is that nigga?
And he said it in
Yes.
class?
Yes. And it's about 15 of us in the class, and I'm the only black person. And so, again, you know, these rich white kids, they don't know anything about black people. So we're talking all this deep stuff now. This is what our professors are teaching us at the school. He said, what's a nigga? One white girl raised her hand. She was like, an African American? She was like, that's, my friends call each other that. And so he writes on the board, AA equals nigga. And so everyone's walking around with their school books with African American equals nigga.
Oh, my God.
So these kids are not being taught anything. Nothing. They're being taught that kind of trash. You see what I'm saying? And that was just about 4 or 5 years ago.
That definitely brings back to my point. See, start them young so that when they get into school and they hear that bull crap, they just say, oh, no. That's not right. Let me go to the dean because you teaching the wrong stuff. What class is this?
Foundations of Rhetoric.
What is that?
Right.
Oh, the foundation of nonsense? That wasn't an easy A.
Yeah, it was
That's like counseling class.
right.
Okay.
So, okay. So, anyone else would like to touch on that before we move forward? All right. So, Joe Biden had a very public dispute with Charlemagne along the same lines as the. I'm sorry. My B's mixed up. Sorry. Okay, so he had along the same lines as a disagreement Charlemagne had with Monique, where he's publicly critiquing Joe's business decisions without being on the inside of those negotiations. He did the same thing to Monique, saying her issue is not an inequality issue. It's her personal issue. But in July, a federal judge actually sided with Monique, allowing her case to go forward to the discovery stage. So do you think that other entertainers should comment publicly?
Yeah, because that's what we're doing right now. We all need to
I
have
understand
our
why
own
some people don't, but I think they should. If for Monique's case, and I don't know about Joe, but we discussed this earlier, if you gonna be supporting me behind the scenes and telling me go sis, and then the cameras come on and you either silent, which is just as bad as trying to side with the so-called enemy or whatever, then that's all bad. So if you gonna say something at all, behind closed doors, friend, it should just match up. That's that. But I definitely think that, again, we need to, and I want to say we need to support each other. And it's a hard thing to talk about because sometimes you don't agree with certain things. Like, let's say we don't agree with Monique and Joe, but you see the bigger picture of things, and it would be more effective if you were supportive. So do you put your personal opinions aside and support this person because you see the point of what they're doing, even though personally you don't agree? Or do you let your personal views stop you from that? So it's I see both sides why some people may choose to support in public and not versus say nothing at all. Because like I said, you have your own things going on. You have your own people to support. And yo, if I own a multi-million-dollar business, same thing we're talking about Nick Cannon. You open your mouth and yeah, I'm supporting my brother. Now they shutting you down. And now it's not just you that lose this job. Everybody that works under you lose that job too. All of those people have families. All of those, so it's not just you. And a lot of people who end up speaking publicly have to think about beyond themselves. So I think if you're going to speak carefully, speak truthfully, and know that, there's going to be some blowback no matter what you say, whether it's for or against whatever you're talking about. So you just have to be careful if you choose to speak. But do I think you should? If you see a need and you have a platform, you should help. I'm a helpful person.
Yeah. For all politics aside, publicists and everything, time to speak my mind.
But I ain't got no millions and I ain't got no team. So I don't know.
Excuse you.
We got the team.
I was saying.
I don't know if I can go all the way around, but we got the team back here. Got supporters.
How about
Not yet. Not yet.
I think, and I just got a brain freeze on. Well, I'm thinking of like so many different topics that we just discussed.
Yeah, no. Do you think that other entertainers should comment publicly?
Oh yes, for sure. I think we should show objectivity when it concerns people of our race, especially because it's a sensitive time. And you don't have to necessarily agree with somebody to show support.
I agree.
Because
That's true.
you can disagree and not be disrespectful.
Yes.
You can disagree and still say that you are valid in your opinion or something similar to that. Like you don't have to break somebody down. So to speak.
Definitely not.
And Charlemagne, I feel like he's good for that.
He likes
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raising those ratings.
I think we should speak up, and because everybody, they have their own way of saying things, and people have their own way of interpreting.
Yes.
So the way that I may project it, someone may just get it and roll with me, and say, hey, we need to jump on her bandwagon because that lady knows what she's talking about, and it may just come out a little bit better where everybody is more understanding, opposed to being all defensive, like she don't know what she's talking about. But no, I may know just what I'm talking about, and you just have to be open-minded and listen.
I agree with that.
We all have it. We all
And
have
ask
our ways of
questions.
saying things.
When you
Right.
don't agree with somebody else, ask a question.
Ask questions.
Figure out
Ask
what the fuck,
questions.
you know what I'm saying? Like what's going on, and you could come to a better understanding
About each other.
Yeah.
How about you, Dan?
Oh, I just love everything that everyone said. Because everything that y'all said is exactly what I was gonna say. Like literally, like she started off, and I was like, oh, but wait, what about if somebody has an opinion? It's just an opinion. I still agree with you. Boom, he said it. So.
And I bet you have a team of people, and you probably don't even know it.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about on the level, and we're talking about the people who feel like they may choose not to speak because they're afraid
Because
of the
they're-
blowback. not only affecting them.
Right.
I mean, like, I can say whatever I want now.
Yeah.
And I don't think my friends is gonna get tomatoed walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, but you know, you have to. But even if they were, I still think that's why I'm talking about that sacrifice. You know, if you believe in something or not, you just want to show support for your people. Is you know, I think we all know right from wrong. And if you know, especially being behind the scenes, people that are in the industry, they know how certain people are being treated because they know how they've been treated along the way. And you know that shit is wrong. So, you know, you have an opportunity and a platform to support somebody. If more people did do that, it would make more of an impact than just sprinkles of people.
Right.
And that's what makes it also hard to stand up because you feel like you're alone. So if you got your peeps, your fellow actors and entertainers and all everybody's willing to stand up,
That's right.
it makes it that much easier. It makes that much more of an impact, and it's much more helpful. But unfortunately, at this time, that ain't what's happening. So that's why I think some people are a little less likely to do it. You feel like you're on the ledge, but somebody got to do it first, right?
Somebody got to do it.
And I feel like as far as the Nick Cannon situation goes, if you are going to be a political activist, like he, I feel like does in his off time, you can't be a coward. If you're going to make a statement, stand on that shit. Don't retract. Because you should be, if you're a political activist at that level, then you should be, everything that comes out of your mouth at a public arena should be acknowledged first. It should be, or researched first.
Yeah,
It should be
that's
researched
true.
first, like,
That is definitely
so
true.
if you're on a public forum, you should have research topics. You should be pulling stuff out your tool belt that you've researched for hours already. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you're just spitting out your ass pretty much, then that's
People will know.
yeah, that's what you get. But I don't think he was spitting out his ass. I think he's just afraid of the blowback that happened. You can't be a coward. He should have started his own website, strained his shit through that. Like, I don't know. He could have did a million other things besides beg and plead for his job back. It's like a 2020 buck breaking session. But
And who knows if he'll get his job back.
did he? I think he did.
I think he kept his job with the Masked Singer, but I'm not sure. I think he
Wilding out
reconciled his,
that?
no, I don't think so. He
They
reconciled his
negotiated.
differences with Viacom, but I don't think
They got him.
yeah. So. All right, you guys. Well, I hate to wrap this up, but I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank my lovely guests, Cash and Shaunice.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes. And of course, we got to thank the lovely co-hosts here, Brandy and Diamond. You know what I'm saying? Layla is here to support. This is what I'm talking about, support. It's support from your own people. They come, they show up, they talk, we all talk, we have a good time. So, all right, you guys. See you later, Keldamuzik. Oh, and go check out Gold Rush Nirvana. That's my new cannabis little situation I started. So I'm in the cannabis business now.
Partake.
Right.
Yes. So, and a shout out to All Bay Music Presents and Amazon Queen Productions.
All right.